I hope you have your shit kickers handy because we're gonna go pretty deep today, topic-wise. I have been contemplating how I would like to address this topic without upsetting people, offending people, or feeling like I have overshared. I want to talk about how depression affects your family if it's untreated. I grew up in a house that was affected by untreated depression. I had a pretty good childhood, I'd like to say. I never witnessed either parent drunk. No one abused drugs or alcohol. No one was violent. No one verbally assaulted anyone in my house. So, all things considered, sounds like a pretty good childhood. However, my dad, who I adore, I love my father. He's a very good man. He, for the most part of my childhood, was living with untreated depression. And it ravaged my childhood, to say the least. What did it look like? Well, people who knew us in the community, because I grew up in a very small town, probably didn't know that he suffered from it. On the outside, looking in, he looked like a happy-go-lucky guy, loved the Lord, which is true, he does. He would help anyone if they needed anything, which that's my dad. That's what he does. And he volunteered at church all the time. Basically, anytime the doors were open, we were there. He was very active in the community. And that's what everyone perceived him to be. And it was great when you were with him in the community and you were with him at church because you were with the happy guy and you were able to be around someone who was cheerful and loving and attentive. At home, when he was able to kind of let go and kind of just marinate in himself, he would isolate himself from us, and he was off limits, not just emotionally but physically. There were many instances where he would lock himself in his room for days on end. He would not eat, he would not speak, and he would just pray. Now, my dad is very religious, and he believed at the time, when I was younger, that if he had enough faith and if he prayed and he fasted enough, the Lord would heal him of his depression, which I am not saying, for those religious buffs out there, I am not saying that God is not capable, okay? I am not saying that it is silly to pray. I am not saying that you shouldn't have faith. I'm not saying any of those things. What I am saying is, and this little tidbit's going to be for religious leaders, if you have a church member who is coming to you to talk to you about their mental state, and they let you know it's getting real hard to live with themselves. They cannot shut this off, okay? They can't get away from the demons that are inside of their head and the negative voices that tell them over and over and over again that they are not worthy of love. They are not worthy of kindness. They are not enough as a person. If they're coming to you, please, 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 please do not do them the disservice of telling them that if they have the faith the size of a mustard seed, God will heal them. Please do not tell them that they can pray this away, okay? If they are coming to you, they are reaching out for help. You're step one. Do them a favor, lead them to step two. Incorporate God in that if they are a believer. By all means, incorporate God in that. But please direct them to a professional who can help them, whether it be a psychiatrist or someone, okay? Do not tell them that medication is silly, doctors are quacks, doctors are non-believers, and that they don't need that. Please do not do that. That's all I'm going to say on that subject. So I grew up in a house with a man who was battling a lot of internal demons. And again, I've never seen my father take a drink of alcohol. He's never been into drugs. I've heard my father cuss maybe 4 times my entire life. I know, rough, right? People are like, that's so abnormal. What I did deal with, though, was not feeling accepted by my father, not feeling wanted by my father, and not feeling like I was enough. I felt like I was not good enough, like something was wrong with me, and that's why my dad locked himself in his room. Something was wrong with me, and that's why my dad didn't want to play with me or talk to me or listen to me tell him about my day or encourage me, you know, with the things that I did. And instead he would, you know, you could always do better. It was critical. What was it? The criticism. Constructive criticism. Sorry, brain fart. And, you know, most people are like, wow, well, you've got a lot to bitch about. You didn't live it. And I'll tell you what happened. By being raised in a house where my father was untreated, I ended up developing a whole bunch of insecurities myself. And all of those things that I felt like I wasn't enough, I felt like I wasn't worthy, I felt like I wasn't wanted, that led me to go try to fill that void later on in life. Come high school, I was done with church. I was fed up with them. If God wasn't able to heal my father, right? My dad didn't pray enough for that God to heal him, or fast enough for that God to heal him from this manic depression that was just ravaging his soul and his mind. What did I need to do with that? For God knows that God wouldn't be able to fill this void. And so I looked for it in other places. Never drugs. I never touched drugs. Didn't really deal with alcohol that much either, in all honesty. But I did other things. And by the time my dad did seek medical treatment. I was 17. By that point, I was already experiencing my own symptoms of depression. And it was addressed. Teachers brought it to my parents' attention. And they had me seek help. And I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And I was put on a medication. It was not monitored very well. And I was on an exceptionally high dose. So if anyone knew me in high school, I basically dropped 40 pounds like that around my junior year. That is why. I did not realize what kind of a dad I missed out on until, I'm going to try not to cry, until I had my own children and I watched my father, now medicated, interact with my kids, and it crushed me. I remember looking out the window of my parents' house in Oregon while my kids toddled around the yard in the grass barefoot with my dad. And I was pissed. I was so angry that I didn't get that. That I didn't see that man ever until that day. And I was 24, 25. And I thought, my God, if I'm so upset by feeling like I missed out, how much more upset is my father realizing he missed out on so many years with me? And that realization really made me look at myself and how I was dealing with my own symptoms, especially after my kids were born with their birth defects. And I was in a marriage that was a wreck. And I felt out of control, unwanted again. And I felt like I wasn't enough for anybody. I was not a good enough mother. I wasn't capable of bearing two normal kids. And I wasn't a good enough nursemaid because my kids were in and out of the hospital all the time. I couldn't keep them out of the ER after they came home. And I felt like not a good enough wife because I was exhausted mentally, emotionally, and physically. I was worn out. I was so tired. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with the way this is getting deep. With the way that I interacted with my husband at the time, who was dealing with his own demons. And that's a whole nother, we'll never get into that story. But the next realization I had was a few years later, shortly after my divorce. I was sitting on my front porch, and I had had surgery on my hip, so I wasn't able to walk for 3 months. And my parents had to come and help me, and, you know, for others looking in, my life was falling apart. I was a divorced mom. I just had surgery. I wasn't able to work. My parents had to come back and help. I couldn't walk. I think I already said that again. Like, shit had hit the fan, guys. And I somehow managed to find a way to smile, and I was on medication. It was a different kind of medication. My doctor kind of evaluated me, figured out a happy dose, and I was feeling pretty good. I was finally feeling healthy mentally. And it hit me when my kids said, "Mommy, you are smiling so much more now." Now, granted, they had witnessed the worst of the worst days with my husband, and I am not proud of those moments. I'm not proud of those memories that I caused my kids to have. But they're there. And you know, there's something to say when a kid notices, and my kids were little at the time. They were 6 and 7, but they were still able to verbally communicate with me that they saw the difference, and that was heavy. That was deep. That was something I would have internalized as a child. That was something that if I had seen it, I don't know if I would have said anything to my dad for fear that I would upset him. But it helped hearing that from them. And I guess my point is, and this is a roundabout way of saying it, but I did say I was going to be honest and open about topics, and it would get messy, and obviously it is. I'm seeing posts of friends on social media that are mentioning that they're dealing with anxiety and depression. And I just want to commend you as a parent for addressing your mental health. I commend you for that. It is a humbling experience. It's scary as hell to go in there and try to explain to someone that shit just ain't right and you can't shake it no matter what you do. The cloud's not going away, right? It's intimidating to go tell someone that, to admit that you're broken. What a humbling thing to do. So I just want to applaud you if you're going through this right now and you have sought help. You are talking to friends, you are talking to family. If you are talking to your doctor and you've decided to go ahead with medical treatment for that, bravo, okay? And I know that meds are not the only answer. I know that. I spent years every day doing yoga and Pilates just for my own mental health. Yes, it helped with my body and losing baby weight, but it was for my own mental health, and it helped a lot. I'm a person that needs medication as well, but at the time, that was a great aid that I had in my arsenal. So, if you are a friend or a family member of someone who is, I'm getting real comfy here, of someone who is going through this or has been recently diagnosed with depression, please try to be understanding. Please, please, please. Try to embrace them. Love them just as they are in their broken state. Remind them all the time that you are there to listen, to talk, to just be a shoulder. Whatever they need, you are there. I have been blessed with a great many friends, and there are few that I am willing to share my battle with. Those of you who are watching and you know who you are, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for letting me share the heaviness and the darkness that I deal with. And thank you for letting me know that just because I'm cracked doesn't mean I'm worthless. And that I can still be a good mom and daughter and wife and friend and sister. Thanks. So, if you guys have any questions, shoot them down. We'll see if we can chit chat about them. If you'd like to share this with someone that you know, by all means do. If you're struggling, reach out. If someone's reaching out, please embrace them. And yeah, hope you guys have a great day.